Good morning, Henry. Good morning, Peter.
Have you been listening to Peter?
I have, yes, I have. I have been listening to him. But, Peter, it's Grand National Day. Mums and dads, the husbands, the nannies and the wives and the children, they pick out their 4 or 5 horses and they have their 50 pence each way. It's a fun day, Peter. You should be on any day by National Day. Henry, why have you got the expert on Grand National Day? Have him on next week. Have him on the following week. I'll come in with you in the studio and we'll have a chat. But we don't want him here today. It's Grand National Day. We don't want clever people, Henry. We want the mugs that are like what we are.
So this is me, and I was invited into BBC Radio Berkshire to talk about sports betting because that's what I'm an expert in. I've been betting for a very large number of years, and horse racing is one of the key sports on which I bet. And Henry Kelly was a keen horse racing fan, but he also knew Gary Wiltshire very well, who you heard on the phone. Gary is living, breathing proof that sometimes the bookmakers do not win. More about that a little bit later. But today we were here to talk about the Grand National.
There's something different about the Grand National. It's not just a horse race. It's an event. Office sweepstakes get passed around. Names are pulled from a hat. Suddenly, people who haven't placed a bet all year are talking about horses like experts. Phones come out, apps open, bets go on, and in those final minutes, millions of people all do the same thing. They pick a horse. And that's exactly why it works. Because while everyone is focused on the horse, nobody is thinking about the price. And that is where the real story begins. Let's start with how a bet actually gets placed. Whether you're on course or using an app, it's the same process. You walk up to a bookmaker, or you scroll through the odds on your screen. You look at the list of horses, each one with a price next to it. Those odds aren't random. They're supposed to represent each horse's chance of winning. So you pick one. You place your bet, and you accept the price that's being offered. Simple. But here's where it gets interesting. If those odds truly reflected the real chances, then when you add them all together, they should equal 100%. But they don't. They add up to more, which means something extra has been baked in. And to show you exactly what that looks like, I'm going to do some cooking. Imagine this whole apple pie is the race. 100%. All the possible outcomes. Now, in a fair market, every slice of that pie would be shared between the horses. And if you picked correctly, you'd get paid fairly for your slice. But that's not what happens. Before you even place a bet, the bookmaker takes a slice out of the pie. They remove it, set it aside. That's theirs. So now, what's left? Less than 100%. And that's what you're betting into. You're competing for what remains, while they've already secured their share. And it doesn't matter which horse wins. That missing slice, they keep it, every single time. Let's look at these images. The image on the left shows the bookmaker's overround. In a perfectly fair market, all the odds would add up to 100%. That would mean every horse is priced exactly in line with its true chance. No edge, no advantage. But that's not what you see here. Instead, these markets add up to 120, 130, sometimes over 150%. So what does that mean? It means the bookmaker has already built in their margin. They've effectively stretched the market beyond 100%. So every price you see is slightly worse than it should be. Now let's look at the consequence. This second image shows the percentage lost by the punter. And this is where it becomes real. Because those inflated percentages translate directly into expected losses. So when you see 20%, 30%, even more, that's telling you for every £100 you bet, that's how much on average the bookmaker expects to keep. 130% book, that might mean you're giving away 25, 30% over time. And that's the connection most people never make. They see the odds, they pick a horse, but they never realize the game was tilted before they even placed the bet. And this is how it works. Nothing hidden, nothing illegal, just odds quietly adjusted in the bookmaker's favor.
So let's simplify things again. Every time you place a bet, a bookmaker will take a cut of your stake. And as we have seen, that cut could be 25% or more. And that poses a problem because if you place 3 bets, losing 25% at a time, you've only got a quarter of your pie left. And of course, if you place another bet, then it's all gone. Your pie has vanished. But of course, it's not just the pie we're talking about here. We're talking about your money. That has gone too.
It's worth saying, not all bookmakers operate the same way. Most of what we've talked about applies to the big corporate firms. They don't just set the prices, they control the game. They can limit how much you stake, restrict your account, and if you start winning, they can shut you down. So even if you find an edge, you often can't use it. Now compare that to on-course bookmakers, the independents. If they lay you a bet, they stand it, win or lose. And sometimes that goes badly wrong. Take Gary Wiltshire. Back in 1996, he laid every ride of Frankie Dettori at Ascot, the Magnificent Seven. 7 winners, one after the other. And he paid out on all of them. No limits, no restrictions, no escape. That's the difference. Corporate bookmakers manage risk by controlling you. Independents take it on themselves. But either way, that built-in edge, it never disappears.
Now I'm joined by Peter Webb of Bet Angel at the betting forum here today in Leopardstown. Peter, what's the best advice that you have for a punter?
Generally to get the best price that you can. And I think it doesn't matter what research you've done, however you've done it, if you can't get the best price, then you'll never make money. So try and get a good price whenever you have decided upon your pick.
Brilliant.
So don't let me stop you having fun on the Grand National. It's important that you do that. But be aware that if you just place a bet blindly, you're going to be losing 25, 30% or more of that bet in a deduction that the bookmaker has taken from you. Now you may win, but over subsequent years, the amount that you lose will vastly exceed that. Or you may just never win because it's so difficult to pick a winner at the Grand National. But the thing you should do is get the best price. Go out, look for some offers, some bonuses and stuff like that. That will reduce the amount of pie that you're paying to the bookmaker. There is another way as well, and if we go back to that slide where I compared bookmaker odds and the deductions, at the top you will see a thing that's called exchange. And you'll see that the deduction there is only 1%, and that is because when you use a betting exchange, you will be betting against other people. People who are familiar with my videos and watch them regularly will know what I'm about to say, but this video is aimed more for people who don't have that level of awareness. But when you bet on a betting exchange, you're betting against other people, not a bookmaker. The market's very competitive, the deduction is very small, but also you won't get restricted if you win. The bet stands and there's no limit on what you can do on an exchange, and that is why I use an exchange. If you look at the result that I'm going to put on the screen now, and the interesting thing about this is this money was earned before the race even started. So before the race had started, regardless of who went on to win the race, I actually knew that I'd won £3,000 or just short of £3,000. And I could sit back, relax and enjoy the race. And you're sort of thinking, well, how's that possible? How can you possibly earn money before the race has even started without knowing who the winner is? Well, I have done videos specifically on that. They'll take a bit of time to explain, so I'm not going to explain it in this video. I suggest you watch those videos where I do explain exactly how I've managed to achieve that result. But ultimately, the betting exchange is the best place to place that bet, because not only are you going to not lose much in the long term based upon the maths, If you do win, you're probably going to win a much larger amount. And on that note, I do hope that you pick a winner at the Grand National and enjoy the race.